There we go again. Another week where the lawsuit continues to build. It's called ageism. And the old guys get left out once again, Uncle T. It's a sad, sad scene. Although you are chewing on candy cigarettes. Are you giving candy cigarettes away here for Halloween tonight?
No, first off, good to be back with you guys again this week. No, I got a fresh case of candy cigs. I've been out for a while, and my guy that usually gets me my candy cigs got a case of them a couple days ago. With he owns a meat place. I got me some sub sandwiches and a case of candy cigs.
Would be really funny if you got like candy joints.
Are we live yet?
Yeah, we're on. That'd be terrific.
Oh, we're live. Okay.
Yeah, we're live. We're live. JT, are you okay? I feel like you were intimidated before we went on.
Uncle T attacked me for no reason, but I really don't care. It's fine. No costumes tonight. I did have a Lilo or a Stitch costume that I was going to put on, but then it's just too late for that. So
yeah.
But Holden, I did want to tell you, it's another week that I'm alive in Survivor, and you're probably not because you tried to play the Raiders a couple of weeks in a row. So
I didn't play the Raiders this week either.
Whatever.
No point in time did I say I was playing the friggin' Raiders. You were playing
the Raiders in Chicago.
I burned the Jets this week.
The Jets?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You so deserve to lose. I wish I was in that pool. It'd be
I'm so alive somehow, some way. I used the Jets in 2 and I used the Chargers in 1.
I use the Chargers. Yeah.
We're down to 65 in my Survivor pool. 65.
Yeah, JT's going to be down to 0 here.
360, 370.
That's nice. It's moving along.
Who you got left, JT?
Me?
Yeah, who you got?
You're the only JT on the panel.
The other JT.
I can't hear. He's mumbling because he's stoned. I have the Saints left. I have the Eagles left, which I'm not using this week.
That's a good one.
I have Dallas left. Which is good. I have the Jets left, which is okay, depending on what week it is and who they're playing. I have the Rams left, which I was kind of intrigued about before Matthew Stafford got hurt. But I've got enough teams left and I have the Browns left. I'm not using them this week. A lot of people are going to use them this week, but so I have plenty of teams left. Thank you very much.
You know what? You should be holding on to the Raiders and the Jets because they're not flexing them at a Sunday Night Football on the 12th of November. And this would be the 2 shittiest games of Sunday Night Football I can ever remember. You had this past week, and then you've got the Jets and the Raiders. I mean, we had the Chargers and the Bears, people. That was some ugly stuff right there. Not good.
And you got Minnesota left, Holden. You can use them without your boy Kirk Cousins. They should be good the rest of the year.
It's not going to be a good scene for the Vikings either. And they actually think they're still going to win.
No, they're going to
4. I mean, it's outside of the Lions, though. If the Lions weren't in it, they'd be fine. But the Lions are in it. And then there's 3 shitty teams.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions, that was an outlier in Baltimore. I'm pretty convinced. I like this Lions team. I really like Dan Campbell. I like the talent. Jahmyr Gibbs looked fantastic last night.
Looked real good.
So you guys are bringing the energy tonight. I'm so glad that you hopped off the toilet.
Just got done passing out candy, Holden.
I mean,
I was passing out candy.
You were?
Yeah, and the kids would be like, trick or treat, and I'd be like, smell my feet. And they'd look at me like I was crazy. I wasn't actually asking them to do that. I was just giving the punchline.
I could only imagine the kind of what did you end up? I know you sent some kind of half-hearted, half smart-ass comment in the coordinators chat today about what you were going to give out. Did you give out some good candy, like the big candy bars, or did you go with the cheap shit?
No, Uncle T, I gave out little squares of acid. And I've got to say,
I mean, that was a 50-50 chance that was going to happen.
Came back an hour later, and they seemed like they were pretty happy.
you imagine JT strolling up to Holden's house, not having any idea what you're in for, and the dude, I mean,
we did our whole front yard. We have great candy. It's a good house to come by.
What do you mean we?
Yeah.
Me and my girl.
Yeah.
Your daughter? That's all right. I give you that.
My girlfriend.
This is kind of what it's like.
You and your girlfriend did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and your daughter, I was going to give you a pass. You can't be out there decorating your front yard and shit.
Well, she did
keep in mind, this is what they do in trailer parks, Uncle T. So he's out there, the kids roll around, and then they exchange the crack pipes and the acid, and it's all good. And who knows if we'll see him tomorrow? But you know what? It's Halloween, and that's
serious question. Do you think they give out good candy in trailer parks?
Do what?
Do you think they give out good candy in trailer parks?
I would suspect no. I would suspect.
You know what I kind of want to do?
I'm going to take the other side. I think they do.
I want to take my kids to a trailer park and go trick-or-treating just to let them see the other side of the world. You know? It's kind of bullshit growing up.
As a lesson, right? As a lesson.
Yeah, as a lesson. Come here, kids. Let's go to a trailer park and let's go trick-or-treating and see just how the other side is right now.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be kind of fun.
What do you think they would do?
They're going to probably come back and say, Dad, I don't see anything different from this than what we did.
Right, exactly. How is this trailer park different from mine? Their trailers aren't as nice. Maybe that's
Your dad, you have the best trailer.
Their trailers don't have fake brick walls.
You've got
maybe I want to live in those trailers.
You've got the best trailer, Dad. That's what they would say to me. You've got the best trailer, Dad.
What's up, Richie, Yeezy, Kevin? Thanks for joining us tonight. I'll do Holden's job.
Did you see what Mangone did today?
Look how good I looked 25 years ago. I literally haven't changed.
By the way, is that Slender Man?
That's Big T's wedding, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I think I look good. That's not my wife with me, by the way.
Dude, you look skinnier than Snyder right there.
I'm not too much more than what my playing weight was back at Big T's wedding, Holden.
Pull that picture back up.
Oh,
You're
here
not
we go.
bigger than this.
Look how good I look.
No. Yeah, you look great.
Oh, here we go.
No. Is that an original iPhone in your shirt pocket? That looks like that's what it is.
I can't see, to be honest with you. When Holden puts it up, I can't see who I don't even know who I'm with. It looks like a blonde chick.
Well, Mangone did it. I can't see who did it. I'm going to tell you right now.
So you know what that was? Mangone was either stalking my sites, my Facebook, or my Twitter or something, or Big T's to get that picture.
No,
that's beautiful. Look at that.
Did you ever go trick-or-treating with your kids, Uncle T?
Sure I did. When they were like 5.
Did you ever dress up?
No.
JT, did you go trick-or-treating with your daughter?
A couple of times, yeah. Did I dress up though? No, not really.
You should have dressed up as Winnie the Pooh. You'd look good in the Winnie the Pooh costume.
I would.
Seriously. You could go out with Quinn. You and Quinn go trick-or-treating together.
I wouldn't be safe. Quinn and Winnie, it's a volatile relationship. And, Quinn is, Pooh is Quinn's attack bear. And it's tough. It's tough being Winnie. I have to, every time we film something, Sunday morning, tonight, Fridays when I do the NBA show, I have to sit Pooh back upright because he's usually face down somewhere around the room from being attacked. It's very hurtful.
How'd you get that thumb up there, by the way?
What's that?
There was a thumb in front of your face.
I did that.
How'd you do that, Uncle T? That's amazing.
I'm going to tell you, because you were hurtful last week when you wouldn't tell me how to put the comments on the screen.
Well, I mean, listen, an idiot could figure that out.
I don't have it.
Uncle T, all you had to do was
I just
look
started
on your
RPF
screen
like a month ago.
You saw it today, though. You figured it out. You said hello to everybody in the chat.
Yes, I did.
Congrats.
I love the people in chat hanging out with us. Hey, baseball game is not fun to watch, so hopefully people will come over and join us for the next hour.
I don't even want to talk about that.
There is NBA on, although the first game isn't very
exciting. I had Julius Randle was the only guy I had early. I didn't even look. Did he do anything? He's the only early guy I had.
Apparently it was a horrible play.
So.
Randall was?
Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah. I got up to third in my $40 single entry last night for a guy that doesn't play. How about that?
I'm going to brag again, guys. I
All
turned
right.
$5 into $700 this weekend.
That's awesome.
All right, Holden.
Imagine if I had a bankroll.
Very nice.
Imagine if I had a bankroll.
What did you what'd you do that in? Tell the people.
Was the 4:00 slate on FanDuel
On NFL.
on NFL? Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Did
you.
you use my afternoon core, by the way?
No, I didn't look at
The
anybody's.
only reason I was
did.
asking, it did crush. I had a few people actually message me. I did.
Really?
I did. Yeah. I usually don't do very good on the afternoon slates for whatever reason, but yeah, it actually crushed this week.
I had Burrow, Chase, McBride, Javonte Williams. It was fun.
Kittle.
I had to. I don't know if I went too.
You almost had to have Kittle.
Yeah, I had to. Then
well, I didn't say had to. I'm saying he crushed. I know that, but
your boy Joey Burrow is alive and well. By the way,
I mean he definitely looked. He definitely looked like the Burrow of last year. Obviously, I'm not breaking news there, but obviously I watch every game. You know, the Tennessee game, which feels like it was a long time ago, it really wasn't, when they looked just awful, where he couldn't move. And now, again, just, I don't know. I got guarded optimism. Obviously, they're playing well. I'm going to try to get over to the game this Sunday and catch the game with the Bills. It should be a good game. If they can continue on and knock off the Bills, obviously the Bills aren't playing great, but the Bengals continue on and win again this week, they're going to have a lot of momentum. Only 5-3 if they win. Obviously, they dug themselves a little hole, but you know, I like the trend that they're on. I was kind of hoping they haven't traditionally been a team to go out and grab anybody at the deadline, obviously, but I was kind of hoping maybe they go out and maybe get Hurst back from you know, where's he at, Carolina, or maybe even make a play for Waller, just because Irv Smith's been so inept. But they didn't do it. But, you know, I think they're still looking okay. What do you guys think about that game, JT? You think that should be a good game, obviously, Buffalo, Cincinnati?
That game's in Buffalo, right? You're going over to Buffalo?
No, it's Cincinnati.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? What are you laughing at?
It's in Cincinnati, you donkey, because I already talked about
What are you laughing at?
Because you didn't know what town it was in.
What
It's
town?
in Cincinnati. It's Sunday night.
Listen, first of all, I'm not concerned when we do the show with the Sunday night slate. I'm concerned about
the
main
you shit-faced right now?
No, not at all. I'm concerned with
you
the
are
main.
Not sober.
JT, I know what's throwing you off is that they played here last year, the DeMar Hamlin game, and you're wanting to know why they're playing here again this year. Is that what the thing is? Probably. I'm not even trolling here, but
I mean, no, I looked at it earlier. I thought it was in Buffalo. I don't care.
No.
I mean,
so you're gonna go to the game on Sunday. Congratulations.
Hold it. This is a great chance. He's literally teeing us up with a softball here to just crush him on this. He thought the game was in Buffalo.
So what?
I mean, why are we gonna? I mean, why do we want to crush him for not knowing where the game?
Oh, you got a perfect chance to get on him, and you're not going to do it.
I just think he's drunk, and he's at very least buzzed. He's cherubic red. I mean, look at him right now. Cherubic red. You usually are not this glowing at this time.
Yeah, Kevin Gallagher. Yeah, he tailed me on Sunday. Yeah, I see you, Kevin.
I do want to shout out one of our loyal viewers, Clay Eads on Twitter. Worst podcast I have ever listened to.
Yes.
Talk
I
shit.
said that to you guys.
Talk shit each other first 30 minutes. Talk about other dumb shit the next 20. Then talk about actual DFS content the last 10 minutes. Exclamation point, because he's very, very angry. Can't wait to join another site. Those guys are entertaining and actually talk football.
He sounds like a really good dude. What's his Twitter handle? I might have to give him a follow. He's a good dude. Sounds like.
Right, hold on a second. Clay Eads, ClayEads.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go back up. I can't follow some dude named Clay. Sorry.
Really? Clay's a bad name?
Yeah, that's awful. Imagine being named Clay.
It
would be worse.
It sounds like for Clay, we talked 10 minutes too much DFS. So maybe we should even reduce the amount of time this week, just so you know he sees what a real podcast is like.
Here's the question: Give me a percentage. A true question. We're not going to know the answer. True question.
Yeah.
What are the? Oh, that looks awful. What's the percentage that Clay is listening right now or watching right now? Probably pretty high.
Before the end of the podcast, between today, tomorrow, and the next day, he will have listened.
Yeah. Clay, shoot us a message. But here's the thing. As Holden said, he listened to the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what people do, though.
Like, it was a perfect description of it. It was
say what? It's a half hour.
It's a half hour talking about dumb nonsense, 20 minutes of talking about other dumb nonsense, and then 10 minutes of the slate. So thank you, Clay.
It's Halloween night. We're in the giving mood, at least I am. I'll tell you what, if Clay reaches out to us in chat or something and is watching, Holden will give you a free month subscription to RPS if you reach out to us. He's not a member, but it's a free show. Yeah, Holden will give you a free membership.
No. I think it's funny when people listen to shows and then they bitch about it, and then they come back the next week and they listen again. And then what happens is this guy's going to get upset because he's listening right now. And I told him fuck himself. So it'll be another 3 weeks before he comes back, and they'll come back in 3 weeks.
Well, you generally know generally the ones that'll make these comments are the ones that haven't been watching us for the last 4 years and know like Richie Smalls, Yeezy, Kevin, you guys have been around. We're just going to sit and bullshit for 30 minutes about stuff and go back and forth. And if you don't want to listen to that, catch it about halfway through, right, guys? So I don't know.
It's the same thing with the people. I always say this on the free show.
Have another thing.
Right, there you go. Have a cig. The Friday night show, the NBA show, someone will come in there and be like, "Oh, this is terrible. You guys are," and I'm like, "It's Friday night. You're sitting in front of your computer on YouTube. This is how you're spending your life. I don't need to worry about that person. Like what is your life if that's what you do? Just complain on the internet. That's crazy, isn't it crazy?
I enjoy it personally.
Yeah, it's insane.
I find it entertaining. I like it. And look, Richie's here for all of it.
Don
Yeezy's here for all of it.
Yeezy's been around forever. Yeezy doesn't miss many shows.
What do you guys? I want to hear this from our people. We got 22 people watching. I want to hear. It was a big day, obviously, a big NBA trade. Less bigger news in the NFL, except for the 49ers, of course, getting better and the Commanders getting weaker. Looks like they're tanking for the future. But you remember that? I've seen this meme, this little picture, whatever, of the guy who's the Grim Reaper, and it goes door, door, door. And I'm waiting. I haven't seen it yet for James Harden with the Rockets, the Nets, the 76ers, and now the Clippers. I mean, you talk about terrible trades. This is it's a terrible team anyway. It's a terrible coach. It's a terrible franchise. Holden, is this finally the trade that is going to force Steve Ballmer to just completely nuke everything and get rid of everybody next year?
No, because he has the best team from 2017. This is easily a team that could have taken down the Warriors.
Right. Yes.
They would have taken down the Warriors in 5, dude.
Yes.
Westbrook, Kawhi, Harden.
Yeah.
Who else?
Paul George is on the team.
Oh, Paul George. He was, if his leg was back where it was supposed to be by then.
Right.
There's another one.
You kind of need your legs, Holden.
Yeah. He blew his leg out though, if you'll remember. It was right.
Can you put Penguins comment up on the screen, please?
Why don't you do it?
I can't do it.
That's exactly it. I'll do it.
Thanks, JT.
I'll do it. No problem.
Penguins 100% on target here with this. I mean, the last part for sure.
Point on what I just said.
Sorry, JT.
James Harden is really disappointing too, because he's one of my favorite college players ever. He was just a stud at Arizona State. Comes out
he didn't have the beard at Arizona State.
No, he looked completely normal. He kind of looked preppy. He wore a t-shirt underneath because he wasn't big enough at the time. Now he's just fat and he doesn't care about basketball. It doesn't seem like. So
is it possible both teams didn't do any good here in this trade, maybe, or not?
Absolutely. On the one hand, you give up nothing to get James Harden, right? I mean, they weren't playing Nick Batum. Covington only started when everybody else was ill or resting or whatever. But imagine bringing this guy onto your team when you've watched what he's done the last 3 years, fighting to get out of Houston, fighting to get out of Brooklyn, fighting to get out of Philadelphia. What franchise would want this guy? Obviously the Clippers, but let me rephrase that. What normal franchise would be like, hey, yes, this is a good addition? You've already got problems with the big three that they have there. Westbrook looked like, to be fair, Westbrook looked like he was actually finally settling into a secondary role and willing to kind of just feed these guys and not be the guy that had to drive every single time down the court. This whole thing is going to be a mess. And Ty Lue is Ty Lue, my goodness. Definitely not the guy who can manage this. I don't think anybody could, but it's definitely not him.
The Los Angeles area, not really known for its strip clubs, which is what James Harden absolutely loves. I'm just looking through some reviews here.
Right.
I'm not seeing it. Most of them are in the 3.2.
I mean, that's not one of the reasons I don't like him, but
Seventh Vale, 3-3. I mean, this is horrible town for him to be traded to. Horrible town. That's all.
Well, he does. If you're paying attention, Holden, he does poorly in towns where the strip clubs are active and rated popularly. He does well, according to the myth, the legend. He does well in towns where there aren't very active, enticing strip clubs. But regardless, I just, like you said, this guy he's done. I mean, it's kind of amazing.
I don't think it's going to end well at all.
I must say, people find this surprising. I just don't like strip clubs. I haven't been to one in decades. It smells musty. The girls are just they're rubbing up against other smelly dudes. Not a strip club guy.
Sounds like you had a bad experience when you were like, 45, that something happened.
Yeah, Uncle T's got the one-liners tonight. Good job, Uncle T.
It sounds like it was recent, like you have recency bias, like you just went there, not too long ago.
It's probably been out for you. My buddy Stu when he turned like 25 or something. So that's got to be 20. It was horrible. Stu Feiner, not Stu Feiner.
Stu Feiner's a
Stu Lessman. Do you know Stu Lessman? I didn't think you would. He had one there.
Lespin?
I actually had a crazy experience that night. But anyways, RPS 15 or NBA 15, your code. Just use NBA 15. NBA 15, 15% off your subscription. First payment of your subscription.
Thanks, Holden, for the promo there. You did a good job.
I was trying to do more.
We were talking about JT having a few too many maybe cocktails tonight. I think he's been fine, for the record. Mm-hmm. What was this Washington owner on today? How can you only get a third round pick for Chase Young? Am I missing something? I mean, it feels like he should hurt. I'm not saying he's been
hurt. He hasn't even been that good.
I didn't say he's been on pro
too. I think his contract's up. So
honestly, you're already shitting on my question. JT, what do you think?
I mean,
did you think he would
dumb?
Holden, shut up for a minute. JT, what do you think? It feels like he should have commanded more than a third round pick.
What do you think he should have commanded?
Not a third round pick.
Well, a lot of people were making noise about the fact that I guess they got a third round pick. The Bears got a third round pick, or gave up a second, right? The Bears gave up a second for Sweat, and the Niners gave up a third for Young. And the reality is, I don't think there's too much difference between a second and a third round pick in the NFL draft. I really just don't.
Disagree.
I just don't. No, I don't. I
think you are like in the top. If you're like in a top 35, like if you're one of the top 5 picks, maybe 37,
you're in the mid 60s, right? Let's call it like it is. You're in the mid 60s
rounder and end up back in the first rounder.
First of all, every single draft, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's the NBA, there are misses all over the place. If your organization is strong enough, and the Commanders are supposedly building a good organization, second round, third round, it doesn't matter. You're going to find the talent. Look at what the Patriots have done for years. Maybe you could say no more, and maybe it was because they had a few key hits that were able to make players better around them. But you look at look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? So the opposite of what the Clippers are doing is what the Oklahoma City Thunder have done. And I think that's why the Thunder are going to be an exciting team to watch for the next 5-6 years, at least get to the finals once, if not more than that, because they evaluate talent well. Most of these teams do not evaluate talent well. It's just a fact. So
you cannot compare the NBA draft to the NFL draft. There's a finite amount of there's a finite amount of NBA players in the world that are there. What do we have? 60 something picks, and maybe another 5 guys that aren't drafted. It's a very small draft. It's very compact.
But it's the same. But for that reason, you can get better talent in the NFL draft in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. And that's why I'm saying I don't think there's that much difference in between a 2nd and a 3rd. And it's just like a talking point now to eviscerate the Bears saying, oh, they gave up more than come on, who cares? Who cares 2nd or 3rd round? Yeah. They're going to have potentially, I think it is 2 picks in the 1st round next year. So I mean,
JT, I definitely get where you're kind of thinking through it for sure. I'm not hating on that at all. I guess maybe when I first glanced at it and it came across, Twitter, it just felt like, you know what I mean? It just felt like it was a little light, but Holden, you're right. He hasn't been what they thought he was going to be. I definitely agree with that as well, but maybe a change of scenery. You're going to put him on the other side now of Bosa, right? And
he's a free agent.
How does San Francisco I still say is a decent, pickup, but I don't know. I mean, they're definitely struggling. Three losses in a row. And I don't know. I kind of like the move from San Francisco, to be honest. So
here's what happens too. Guys get out of that situation in Washington. They go other places and they're stars. That is, I know Dan Snyder's gone, but the stench of Dan Snyder lingers like a strip club. Okay. It's just, it won't go away. Wasn't it Sweat that earlier this season was just like, I'm sick of this shit. I can't handle it anymore. You got to get me out of here. It's just the worst. So they got what they could for him. Actually, Washington did a pretty good job today, getting a 2nd and a 3rd. So I think Washington did decently. Chase Young can't stay on the field. His contract's up at the end of the year, but he's also going to one of the best organizations in the league. And I think there really is something to that, where you go to a winning culture and all of a sudden everything turns around.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at, and didn't really necessarily probably say it the right way. But I mean, there's a couple teams today that I thought should have. I mean, some of these teams that are just, like Las Vegas last night, for example. Like, what are they doing, right? I mean, what are they going to do with Adams? Because, I get the whole friendship with Carr when he went out there initially and all that, but it's still business. I mean, for him to get, what was it, a few targets, because I know he missed a couple overthrows last night. But what are they going to do with Adams? I mean, because there's no way he's going to be there next year, I wouldn't think.
7 targets last night, 1 catch for 11 yards. Garoppolo was just all over the place last night. And to be fair, I rate the Lions defense quite highly. They were always in his face. They were always in the backfield. It isn't a game where I expected Devontae Adams to have a big game. He did get the targets. I think we'll talk about this when we get into the slate next week. But when you talk about the Commanders under new ownership, right? It's like fans believe, oh my goodness, it's like what happened with the Mets, right? Steve Cohen is buying the Mets. Oh my goodness. Now we have all the money in the world and we're going to be great all of a sudden. No, because you have to rebuild the entire franchise. You have to rebuild the entire culture. And guess what? The Commanders still have Ron Rivera, who, nice a guy as he may be, is one of the worst offensive coaches in the National Football League. And they still have him. So what's going to be interesting now, you look at this and what changes here, right? What changes here is, all right, the Commanders play the Patriots this week, and they're not going to be able to stop Ramondre Stevenson. They may not be able to stop Ezekiel Elliott, right? I mean, that's the impact here for now. But I think these organizations that go through ownership changes, it's going to take a long time to change over all the personnel in that organization and get them on the same page. It's not going to happen overnight.
No. And Rivera will probably go this offseason. Then you were talking about Devontae Adams, right, Uncle T?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I would just say,
even Jacobs came out after the game and, I think when they get these guys fresh off of a game like last night, right, where the season's kind of gone downhill, that last night didn't go well, like JT mentioned, the Lions defense, I agree. I think that game last week might have woke them up, and actually in the long term, further out here, I think that loss to Jacksonville might have done them some good because I do think they're talented. I think all three of us think they're talented. I do like their defense and kind of appreciate their defense. And but Las Vegas, I mean, I just, Jacobs comes out after the game saying, I don't know what to tell you guys. You go ask them, or I kind of where this is. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams with veterans and, are on the team, big name, big contracts, and to see how they go going forward. But Richie Small is talking about how Seattle, a great fit for Leonard Williams. I agree with that as well. I think not a bad spot there at all for Leonard Williams. Really nice pickup there for Seattle. I agree.
I do. Sakia, they should have kept him, shouldn't they have? Now with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they had a guy that took him to the playoffs, and now they got Josh McDaniel. Yes, JT.
Right. No, I was going to say, I agree with Uncle T from the standpoint of what Las Vegas is doing. I mean, you've got two very marketable assets. The Ravens wanted, and here's a clear example. The Ravens wanted Josh Jacobs, and Vegas wanted a second rounder instead of a third rounder or something later than that. Ravens didn't want to part with the second rounder, and that's pure silliness. Now, maybe for the Ravens, they're like, hey, Gus Edwards just scored 3 touchdowns again against Arizona. We don't need to overpay because Gus Edwards is fine, and he has been. But the Raiders, like, what are you doing? Just trade your assets and get something because this isn't going to be your year. So very bizarre the way that some of these teams operate. But we know that Vegas, one of the duller, if the opposite of dull is sharp, one of the duller teams in the NFL.
One of the dumber teams. Just one of them, though. There's just a lot of shitty organizations out there. It's amazing. And then this year, this has nothing to do with bad organizations, but we always say this every year. Oh, any team can beat any other team, but there's no great team out there right now. Like the Eagles are really good. They're rounding into form. I don't know if they're the best team. I honestly do not know what to think of San Francisco anymore. I still think that they've got everything they need to win. I think Purdy's just in a rut with a couple of bad games, throwing interceptions, but 3 losses in a row. That's
I'm a little concerned with the San Francisco. I really am, because you had Purdy that everybody kind of put up like, this guy's getting it done, right? I mean, and then now he's got a little bit of adversity. 3 games in a row. Will he start pressing a little bit? Will he start, I don't know, maybe not, but I know when things are going well, it's always good to roll with these guys, especially Purdy going into a nice situation there with a good team, good skill players around him. Debo's been out the last couple weeks. Now Purdy's struggling a little bit. I don't know. I think it's more than a cause for concern because after that Dallas game, everybody was anointing San Francisco as pretty much either the number 1 or number 2 team in the NFL. And since then, they've fallen on some hard times. So
I still think that they're going to be fine.
I think they will be too, but I think I'd be at least a little bit concerned, though.
Yeah, a little concerning, question.
The NFC, if they were in the AFC, I'd be a lot more worried. I still say the AFC from top to bottom, as far as especially playoff hunt and playoff caliber teams, I think the AFC is a lot tougher still to get through than the NFC. I might be challenged on that, but that, I think the AFC is stronger.
Who's the best team in the league, JT?
Oh my God.
Philly.
Yes.
Baltimore.
Like you said, all of them have flaws.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City, top to bottom, it's tough because they really only have 2.5 skill position players on offense that I think are there, right? You've got Kelsey, Mahomes, obviously, Pacheco. Maybe this kid Rice is going to be fine. We don't know. But their defense is strong. Their defense has been strong. I mean, obviously wasn't as strong against the Broncos this weekend, but teams are going to have bad games. I think for the 49ers, the biggest concern is look at the losses. I would have been fine and said, hey, Bengals, Niners, that game's kind of a toss-up on a neutral field, a little bit surprising for the Bengals to go in there and win in San Francisco. But to lose at Cleveland with the team that they played, I mean, I get Cleveland's defense is good. Weather was bad, fine. then to lose at Minnesota. I mean, that those two are the one that are kind of like, man, maybe there are, and Kevin Cloonan in here. Yes. Yes. Their D-line is now even that much stronger, but I don't know. I worry a little bit about San Francisco, and I was higher on them at the beginning of the year.
You know, the one team that I am not worried about, and I know I've been saying it on this show when we've talked about it the last few weeks, and even at the very beginning, I still say Philadelphia is good. And I'm not breaking again exactly news there, but people were. I think people, they made the Super Bowl last year, obviously got beat, but people were trying to find and poke holes in this Philadelphia team, and I tell you what, I still have them number one, and it's probably a decent amount right now in that number one spot. I don't know. I think both lines are good. I think they got good. A.J. Brown, we'll talk about it when we get to the wide receiver position tonight, but unbelievable the run that A.J. Brown is on right now, and he actually had Devonta came through with a pretty good-sized game himself last week in Washington, but I really like this Eagles team, and I'm, again, you go back on the tape on this show the last 7-8 weeks, and I've talked about it. So I think they're going to get it done. I may even try to go and make some kind of I'm not sure what they are. Holden, what are they to win the Super Bowl right now? Are they the odds on them or Kansas City? I don't even look at it.
I'm looking at the MVP odds right now. Let's go. Super Bowl.
Eagles have a plethora of weapons on both sides of the ball, which is not what you can say for some of these other teams. Richie Small, surprised the Chiefs didn't trade for a wide receiver. They don't seem to care. I mean, they're just like, you know what? It's Mahomes, it's Kelsey. They seem happy with Pacheco. They like McKinnon enough. They feel like their defense is going to keep them, not just keep them in games, but their defense is going to score. And talk about a defense that scores. The Dallas Cowboys defense, look, bad game in San Francisco, but you talk about having a defense that puts points on the board. Holden, Uncle T, have you guys ever seen anything like this? Like the rate that the Dallas Cowboys defense is scoring touchdowns. They scored another one last week against the Rams.
How many they got? 4?
It seems like more than that. It seems like they got a bunch against the Giants, the Jets. Now they
at least have 4 or 5. They had multiple touchdowns in at least 2 games. So maybe I'm going to guess 5 or 6 without looking.
Yeah, they're benefiting by playing the NFC East. Obviously, the Giants, the Redskins. They're benefiting by playing some of the teams in the AFC East. They absolutely waxed the Patriots and the Jets. So, but still, even with the injuries, they just seem to always be able to be in contention for the top defense on a slate.
Yeah, all right, I'm going to use DraftKings odds. Did you want to say something, Uncle T? Then I'll give you the odds.
No, go ahead, Holden. I asked you.
Right,
did you pull up? What we got?
Yeah, so I'm throwing out the DraftKings odds. We got the Chiefs at 5-1 plus 600 for the Eagles. Can this be like updated right now? Like the Chiefs are still the favorites, huh? Niners plus 600, so they're tied with the Eagles. This cannot be today. Are you kidding me? That doesn't make sense. Because the Niners and the Eagles have the same odds. And while I'm still buying on the Niners, like I still think they're going to turn it around, the Eagles are 7-1, man. And they just started. The last 2 games are the best games they played this year. Like they just started to get going. I'm going to look this up on here, though.
Yeah, while you're looking at that, JT, I know you commented on Kevin's comment, and that's what I was going to kind of put a bow on the conversation here with is he's 100% right. They can win in a variety of ways, and when one part of the game, one side of the ball or the other, or running game, passing game, you can get it done with the defense. They've got multiple ways they can win a game, and if the running game ain't working, or vice versa, it gives Sirianni. I think. I love this coach. I really do. I like Sirianni a lot, or however you pronounce his name. I like him quite a bit. I don't know. I know we probably talk too much on the Eagles, but I still say for me, I still think they're the best team in football going into week 9 here at the halfway mark.
It is right, by the way. Chiefs 5-1, Niners, Eagles 6-1, Dolphins plus 850, Cowboys plus 850. And then Lions, Ravens, Bill. I like that Ravens team. I still like I know they fucking lay a lot of eggs like they did in the second half against Arizona this week, but
This Dallas Philly game this week, JT, I'll let you get in a minute or right after this. I was just going to say this. There's some really, and we'll start getting into the quarterbacks here, but KC, Miami, you got Cincinnati, Buffalo, and then you got Dallas, Philly. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't think of a week so far that's had three like stud elite games, in my opinion. I'm not talking all DFS. I just mean football wise. You got two of the three obviously are not on the main slate on Sunday, but JT, can you remember a week so far this year where we've had three just super football games to watch on TV? I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's only one of those is on the main slate. The others, but that's, you know what? You're going to have a good Sunday night game. You're going to have a good Monday night game, which, you know, and who knows? Weird things happen on Sunday nights and Monday nights. Or I think that Miami Kansas City game, is that the Germany game on Sunday morning? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the Germany game. And then one, just going back to the discussion about the Eagles. This is one of the things I talked about, how I like Dan Campbell. I like the Lions. This was it's really the only thing that surprised me about them is why they didn't take advantage of DeAndre Swift and just basically gave him away, because he is an absolute weapon on, you know, in the rushing game, in the passing game, and gives Philadelphia just so much more. Not that Kenneth Gainwell isn't fine, but it's just so much better having DeAndre Swift to go along with all their receivers and Jalen Hurts. It's just a fantastic team. And yes, the secondary, they give up a lot of yards, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's almost like Miami, where you can score with that quickness. It'll matter in the playoffs for Miami, but I think the Eagles can get through the NFC, giving up some points.
I agree.
And Chiefs will be there in the end. It used to be they had to fix their defense in the second half of the season. Now all they got to do is fix their offense. Like if you have that defense with Patrick Mahomes, I feel even better about this team than I have in the past. And I'm not kidding. Like their defense is a legit top 10 defense, at least top 10 defense. They're making plays too. And if you remember the first half of the last couple of seasons, that defense just got shredded. Now they picked it up toward the end of the year, but they need to find somebody else besides for Kelsey. Maybe Rashee Rice is that guy in the second half, but I do have another question for you guys. This is not about the Super Bowl future though. The updated MVP odds. So Mahomes 3-1, Jalen Hurts plus 350, Tua plus 350, Lamar Jackson 6-1. Your boy Burrow is 20-1 right now, Uncle T. Mahomes, Hurts, Tua, Lamar. I'm already sitting on a Lamar ticket. I would think this would be the time to get in on Hurts or Tua. Hurts just took a big jump up the board too, unfortunately, if you were looking to back him. But Hurts, Tua, or Mahomes? What do you got, Uncle T?
Yeah, I'd probably go in the order that you called them there. Probably, maybe Mahomes ahead of Tua. I'm anxious to see how Miami plays the next few weeks, to be honest with you, because I still think they're a pretty doggone good team. I know Philly clipped them. What was it last 2 weeks ago? I said it on the show last week. I think Miami's still a really good football team. But I think one of the interesting things too is here, and even though we haven't gotten to our DFS portion of the show tonight, we have been talking a lot more football, which is, you know, good for the show. Good. But you know, Denver, you know, we saw they didn't do anything today, guys. You know, and 2 weeks ago after that first Kansas City loss, they were sitting at 1-5. Green Bay goes in there to Denver, and you know, Denver gets the job done. Then they come off a big win, obviously, against Kansas City this week. So 2 weeks ago, I would have thought at the deadline today, and I know they were quote unquote, Peyton came out and said, you know, we're listening, right, to anything, or we'll listen to anybody. And then they stood pat. I think if they would have lost even the game last week and dropped to 2-6, I think there could have been a move, maybe two made by Denver today. But again, 3-5 looks a lot better. Maybe still a chance at the playoffs. But I'm not shocked that a few people were shocked they didn't let a few of those guys go and make a couple deals. But I think after those last 2 weeks against Green Bay and Kansas City, they still think they got a shot at the playoffs somehow. I don't, but they do.
Well, yeah, because again, the back half of both conferences, I think, are to be had. And Russell Wilson, for all the shit he's taken even this year, he's been not the problem. How about that? He's not the guy that is going to light it up and, you know, win multiple games for you a season, but he's not turning the ball over. He's running more. he's doing pretty well. And that win over Kansas City, remember we talked about the Lions getting blown out by the Ravens. That might be the game where Kansas City goes, whoa, hold on a second. It's time to get our shit together, because they had lost 16 in a row to Kansas City for that game. 16 in a row.
Did they get double figures, or did they stay on 9? I can't even remember the end of that game. Did they end up scoring a complimentary touchdown at the end, or?
I don't think so. And
I mean, if you'd have told me again that they would only score 9, and again, we all know Kansas City's offense is just hit and miss. They haven't been, since I don't know how they get it done. I really don't. I won't speak for you guys. I know I'm not a Kansas City guy and haven't been, but I don't know how they keep getting it done. Well, I do know, because they got Mahomes back there, but they're not putting up 30-plus points like they were a couple years back and just dominating teams offensively and then just doing enough on defense. I think their defense is actually pretty solid. But to think that Denver, after they gave up, 60 or 70, whatever it was, to Miami back 5-6 weeks ago, to only give Kansas City 9, I don't care where that game's being played at. That just shows you football is a week-to-week league.
I haven't looked at the futures very much, Swoop, but he says Hamlin minus 140. Give me a break. So he's only played 1 or 2 games, hasn't he, DeMar Hamlin? Like, is that – because that was a lot more than 140 coming into the year. Like, that was quadruple digits. Is he in the mix still?
I don't
Is
think
DeMar Hamlin really in the mix?
I mean, I don't know who if we're talking about comeback player of the year, you just mentioned Russ Wilson.
He's not that good yet.
No, but I mean, who would? I don't even know who you would think. It's not something Breece Hall maybe.
I never think of it. Tua at 4-1.
Tua, if he stays healthy the rest of the year.
You think he beats Hamlin even if Hamlin only plays a handful of games?
You never know. Right? I mean, you never know with the way the voters are. It's like let's do something nice for this guy, right?
Yeah,
it's a big story.
He would be the sentimental pick if it was a 1v1 and it was close, but it's like a tiebreaker. But I don't understand that line at all. Actually,
it might be time to get in on that.
No, you're getting a terrible price.
You're getting a great price. Do you know what he was at? Minus 140.
JT, am I looking at that wrong?
I don't bet minus 40s, but hold on. I'm going to go find the odds before the year and we'll go compare them. Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't put any money on DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to find myself betting on, even if I was in a betting state, that I would be betting on the comeback.
No, I'm not either.
I'm just,
Two more Coors Lights and you might be, though, by the end of the show.
Yeah, no, you get a moderation. I stopped doing everything at like 10 o'clock, and this way I don't get myself into trouble. So there you go.
I don't know how the hell to find the preseason, but yeah, man, this thing was
200 to 1. Kevin says 200 to 1.
200 to 1.
Okay.
Now
that came down a little.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
So that was a big number on Hamlin.
Oh, yeah. You know what, Swoop? That's my fault, Holden. I read the comment wrong. I was thinking, I don't even want to tell you what I was thinking. I'm thinking in terms of something else. The 140, I took that totally wrong way. 140 to 1 is what you're saying.
Yeah, betting just went legal in your state, right?
I know, JT. You're giving me that look. I'm thinking in terms of like money line baseball that I made on tonight.
That was 200 to 1, and now he's at minus 140. So I mean,
I still probably wouldn't play it at 140, but because I don't think he's going to win. But it is a pretty good price.
If you told me before the year that we'd be, and I can't believe we're halfway through the season. We're 8 weeks through the season. We're coming up on week 9. DeMar Hamlin will have only played in 1 game, been active for 1 game, but I'll give you minus 40. I would have taken it. I would have taken it. So it actually might not be a bad bet, come to think of it. But I think he's only played one game.
Yeah.
So they might give it to him just to be nice anyways.
Yeah, I don't like giving those out to be nice.
Do you think he's going to be
I hope he plays this Sunday night if I'm over there. I was at the game last year when that happened. Me and Big T and a few other family members, we were over there that night. It'd be pretty cool if he is able to play for sure.
He did play in the preseason. and he's been active for one game so far this year. All right, guys, let's get into the DFS stuff. Oh my God, we've been on for 55 minutes.
Yeah, that's what happens. We have a good time on this show. We got our boys hanging out with us in chat.
You're about to get 9 minutes of DFS, Clay. You're about to
This is for Clay. This is for Clay. JT,
hey, we just had 3 more people watch.
Let's do the like button and let's do the RPS 15% off first payment of your plan. JT, I'll go to you here. Top of the shelf at quarterback, Lamar Jackson as they host Seattle. Hurts against Dallas. I wonder what you think of Hurts. I always feel like he's going to get his, huh? Cousins with the Achilles. Dak Prescott. I don't want to pay $6,500 for Dak Prescott coming off that week. Is there anybody cheap you're looking at right now? JT Hayes, tell me what's going on, dude. How about a little Mac Jones, some Maction against an already horrible Washington defense before trading their defensive line?
Yeah, let me start with your comment about Dak Prescott. Obviously, massive game, massive win against the Rams. But if you look at the Cowboys season, they've destroyed inferior teams. And obviously, Stafford left at some point in that game. And the Rams were playing a little bit over their head. And defense had a great game. But when he's played the really good teams, they've gotten their doors kicked in. And we were just talking about how good we think Philadelphia is. So I'm probably not going to be on the Dak train. I'm definitely not going to be on Pollard at 6,800 against this defense. Definitely not going to be playing CeeDee Lamb, I don't think, at 8,200. I think Hurts is good, 8,600. We're now getting up there for A.J. Brown finally. But you got Derek Carr at 5,700 against the Bears. You've got Mac Jones at 4,900 against a defense that just traded away all the options to rush, right? I mean, this Washington line. Ramondre Stevenson, I talked about a little bit earlier. From there, it gets a little bit dicey, right? I mean, you do have, if you wanted to bank on a Las Vegas Raiders comeback, you have Jimmy G, Adams, Jacobs there at reasonable prices. We got to see what Atlanta does, because honestly, I'll be interested in Heineke at 5K flat in a dome against the Vikings with a game that the Falcons are in the NFC South. They need to win. So you got Hurts. I prefer the running game in Indianapolis as opposed to Gardner Minshew, but I mean, I guess you could say he's fine. That's it for me. First look.
Uncle T, you want to make it quicker than that?
Yeah. I thought JT did good, had a hell of a segment there, to be honest with you, while I was I like a few of the guys you mentioned, up top. Again, I mentioned earlier in the show about all the other big name quarterbacks. We got 5 of them on the primetime slates this week. Jackson or Hurts. That Dallas game is going to be really interesting to see how we, along with everybody else, as the week goes on, what kind of pieces and combinations we're going to want to have of the highest total on the 10-game slate, sitting at 46, I think, right now. The other big totals are not on the slate. So I think you're going to have some kind of piece of this game. Now, we'll talk about running backs in a minute, Holden, but Pollard, he's just off my list right now. I just can't I can't keep throwing away money trying to figure out Tony Pollard. But going back to the quarterbacks, I like Hurts quite a bit here, 8K. I'd probably pay up for him, although Lamar's in a good spot here too. Now, Lamar last week, after everybody was stroking him, including you two guys, stroking the Ravens, he put up a whole 11 fantasy points. Sorry, JT, it might not have been you, but you're grouped in with Holden.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
11. He put up a robust 11 fantasy point effort against Arizona. Very underwhelming game by Lamar, but I kind of like him here in this spot. One guy JT didn't mention down below that I like, Holden, 5,700. Derek Carr, I think I had some interest here. You did talk about him.
Even I heard it.
It's like the fucking first guy I mentioned.
I was researching and responding to somebody. Sorry.
You know what? Now that I'm looking at you, and now that I'm annoyed with you,
Fuck this shit.
you get. Is it every week you have to wear an orange and white item of clothing? You've got an orange and white medal. You are the creamsicle.
I have not changed a bit.
He's not wearing any orange.
Right. An orange hat.
Creamsicle. I had 4 creamsicle popsicles today. They were delicious.
See, I was
we were all eat so much ice cream.
We were all kumbaya, and then you insulted me.
He didn't purposefully do it. He just didn't listen.
I didn't purposely. No, I didn't.
He wasn't paying attention. He insulted me.
Right, but I didn't. If I would have listened to you, I wouldn't have mentioned it again. JT, that was a great call you had earlier on Derek Carr. I agree with you. I like him quite a bit. Yeah, Mac Jones is interesting for real cheap, 4,900. Holden, you did mention him.
He just flipped you off sideways, by the way. If you would have been paying attention, you'd have seen it.
Jaron Hall, 4,800 against
JT,
Atlanta.
Hold on, Uncle T. I'm sorry.
What?
What is the sideways finger? Why can't you just flip it up? Double barrels. Why'd you sideways finger him?
I was too angry to worry about the direction of the finger. So there you go.
All right. You were talking about Derek Carr, right?
All right. You want me to go to running back since I can't?
No. Finish up the
quarterback.
Yeah, just go through some more quarterbacks.
I mean, I like Hurts and Jackson. I like Derek Carr, and that's probably about it. Mac Jones at 4,900 isn't the worst idea. He's been playing a little bit better the last couple of weeks. Good matchup, but I don't think I could even go there.
Heineke won a millie last year?
Curtis Stroud. Did I just say Curtis Stroud?
I will say this. I will say before we leave, and I know you want Holden to move on because we've been talking too long and it's been too enjoyable and you have to end this podcast. But
I mean, we got 3 minutes.
If it's
Taylor Heineke for the Falcons, I would expect a different type of offensive approach. And that changes things a little bit in how I would view this game because I think the Falcons should win. The Falcons should win going away. But if it's Heineke instead of Desmond Ridder, I don't think you're going to see this, 40, 50 runs. I think you'll see more of the offense flowing through the air. So we'll see.
Yeah, that spread's 4.5. I see that spread going up as the week goes on. I'm not sure about you guys. I think that may get to 5, 5.5, even possibly 6 by Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. Running back time. If you look up top, the top 2 price guys on DK are in some of the best situations. We got Kamara at 8,100 against Chicago at home, and Barkley taking on the lowly Raiders in Vegas at 7,900. And you go down the list a little bit. Jonathan Taylor, still not a bell cow, but Zach Moss been running well. He's got a great matchup at Carolina. I thought it was a great point, by the way, JT. It's just going through my mind right now. Like, we have to talk about the Atlanta wide receivers with and without Heineke when we get to that. But Chuba Hubbard, goodbye, Miles Sanders. Stick a fork in him and Miles Sanders season. Henderson at Green Bay. Darrell Henderson back in the conversation again. I can't believe we're saying this. Probably a nice little RB2 at 5,100. Uncle T, you're up, my man. What do we got?
Yeah, no CMC, no Eckler, like you mentioned. You got Kamara and Barkley. Kamara, it's crazy, $8,100. It feels like his price is getting kind of back up to where when we're what we're used to seeing out of Kamara, a couple years back. But I'd probably side with Saquon Barkley here. We saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did in that game last night against this Vegas defense. So I'll probably if I have to choose between one of those two, I'd rather probably start with Saquon Barkley at 7,900. I don't have any interest in Josh Jacobs here in the matchup against the Giants. I do like Jonathan Taylor quite a bit. 6,400 still feels like the price tag is pretty solid there on JT. I'm not sure why he only got 1 carry in the second half last week, but he had 12 for 95 in the first half and looked really good. Good matchup here in Carolina. A couple other guys you mentioned, Holden, Henderson and Hubbard, if you need to go all the way down. I don't mind either one there. I kind of like the mid-range here, Holden, to be honest with you. I don't mind Barkley or Kamara up top, but I like the JT Bijan Robinson 6,100. If they do go to Heineke, I don't know how it'll affect Bijan, but 6,100 is still a pretty fair price tag. And then you got both the Cleveland running backs too. You got Hunt 5,500 in a good matchup at home against Arizona. So don't mind him either.
Did you know that JT got up to leave for a while, Uncle T?
Oh, JT left?
Did you know that I was gone too? Like I left, both of us left, and you were just talking.
No, I mean, I'm used to talking to myself, so I'm good. I mean, as long as the people, hey, I'm a man of the people. As long as I see my boy Richie Smalls and Rance and all these guys, Hawk Dark, all these guys, as long as I got the people, I don't need you two.
Swift is sneaky, says Richie Small. He's sneaky.
He always walks away when I'm talking too. That's very disrespectful. Like if you were talking Holden and he took a pee break, I would be okay with it.
You had to put in his IUD.
Oh, it's been a long show, so I'm sure his bladder couldn't take it. Uncle T's been going strong.
JT, we're on running backs.
Yeah.
What lights your fancy?
I hear you. I I had to stick that IUD up there. It's a tiny opening, obviously, because I haven't. But anyway, I'm on the Jonathan Taylor train this week against the Carolina Panthers.
You weren't listening to me from the.
Did I say he was someone you didn't mention?
I'll be
Penguin
back.
says he likes you. Oh, the spite! Get up and walk away.
We'll see you later.
Hell no, Penguin's my guy. Penguin 3,200. I like him. Go ahead, JT.
Did you think the first 31.99 were taken, or is that there's something behind the 3,200? Do you think he came in? He's like, I want to be Penguin, but then
let's save that for next week. We're running a little bit long tonight. Penguin will be back with us next Tuesday night. Let's let JT talk about his running back takes.
Yeah,
listen. Penguin 3,200. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that you were with Uncle T while we were not. Sorry to listen to that.
Loved it.
It seemed like it went on for a while. I actually took Quinn for a walk down the block and came back.
Well, I had to fill the gap. I got my two other co-hosts that weren't on the show.
There you go. So yeah, Uncle T mentioned Jonathan Taylor. I think this is the Jonathan Taylor breakout week. 6,400 against the Panthers. Could have given up 3 touchdowns to Houston running backs, but they were vultured because they have a 3-man committee. So I think it's Taylor. Ramondre Stevenson, swoop. I don't think he's sneaky. I mean, maybe he's sneaky. I think he's one of the best plays on the slate against a defensive line that has traded everybody away. And with a coach, Bill Belichick, who wants to run the clock down as much as possible. We'll fix that. Don't worry, Holden. I've got potentially. Of course, you got Saquon there. It's not deep. I will say this. One thing what I was thinking about when we were talking about the Dallas Philly game, I expect Dallas to be trailing. I like Philly in that game. And is it a situation where maybe Pollard gets more of the dump offs here because the defensive line is up in Dak's face, as happens when they play better teams? I'm still not sold on Pollard at 6'8". As far as the Atlanta running backs, Bijan 61, Algier 4,700. It really is just a full-time split here. I don't see that changing no matter who the quarterback is. So they're nothing more than really, really risks in GPPs.
Move on to the position of wide receiver, gentlemen. And we're gonna start at the top with AJ Brown going up against that Dallas team. He is 8,600. He's got a pair of touchdowns in 3 of his last 6 games. He's on another level right now. Then there's Cooper Kupp, who is not on another level. He's kind of come back down to earth. He's got 13 PPR points his last 2 games. Devontae Adams priced up 8,100. Don't look at it there. But JT, maybe you can discuss exactly please, the Atlanta wide receiver situation first if Heineke's in the game.
So if Heineke's in the game, especially against a Minnesota defense that has been better against the run in particular, ordinarily we would be more interested in wide receivers. However, Drake London left the game, and we're going to have to watch what happens with practice this week. Outside of Drake London, you've got a hodgepodge of like no names at wide receiver. But what you do have is Kyle Pitts and Janu Smith and B. John Robinson, who are the pass catchers. So I kind of side with maybe they make Kyle Pitts more of a tight end in this matchup. More wide receiver, I should say. So I'll start there. As far as my favorite wide receivers this week, I've been playing this guy a bunch.
Snort.
What?
Did Holden just snort?
Holden just
Quite a few times. Quite a few times.
Yeah. But anyway, Chris Olave at 6,300 in a fantastic matchup against the Bears. I'm going to go back to him. I'm going to go back to Devontae Adams potentially at 8,100 against the Giants. Again, 7 targets last week. Didn't work out. Much tougher defense than I think the Giants are. Zay Flowers at 5,700 if it's a situation. Again, Seattle is a what are you doing? What are you doing? Seattle is a difficult matchup to run on. So we'll go with that. Nico Collins, 5,800, kind of my God. I've got one more.
What are you guys laughing about?
Amari Cooper at home
against the Cardinals
at 6,100. Amari Cooper at home.
Why don't you just name 37 guys, JT, and like 36 of them are on my list?
I'm only naming a handful. Why are you? And then one that's going to be under the radar because Kendrick Bourne is out. Pop Douglas 4K against
Big Pop.
Is that Demario?
Redskins. It's your turn, Uncle T. Or as your friends call you, Fellatio 69.
You guys, it's the best part of this show is when you two just laugh at each other thinking something's funny. And then you get like look at JT. He's got 3.5 beers in. He's all red now. Look at him. He had to mute himself. Look at him.
Hashtag Fellatio 60.
I know I'm on mute. Guys in the chat got my back. If you donkeys don't. I've never seen somebody so happy that I'm on mute trying to talk. Like nobody's ever done it.
That's exactly what it was.
Kevin Clunin, what they were was bad targets. They were bad targets to Devontae Adams. Go on, Uncle T, wide receiver.
Let's just go to tight ends, I guess. Since
come on, we're not fucking around anymore.
Don't get flustered. We got 10 minutes.
I'm here all night. We can go till midnight if we need to. I know Holden will be in bed, but AJ Brown, I'm going to just play AJ Brown. I've played him the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'll definitely have an AJ Brown team. CD Lamb, I probably prefer a little bit more as far as on the rankings list for me. 8,200. Dak saw what happens when he feeds CD Lamb. I think, like JT mentioned earlier, I do think they're going to play, even though it's a 3-point spread, 3.5-point spread. I do think Dallas is going to be trailing. So I like him here a little bit. I'm not going to elaborate on some of these guys. I'm just going to name them off because JT did. Love Olave, love Amari Cooper at home. I like him against Arizona here, 6,100. Zay Flowers, 5,700 in that matchup against Seattle. I don't mind that. Actually, I like a lot of pieces in that game. Terry McLaurin, 5,600. Again, depends on kind of how that game. I don't know. I think that game has some. What's that total? 40. I think that's got some pieces we can grab. And then Jahan Dotson and then Rashid Shaheed or whatever the hell they call him.
Rashid
He had only,
hashtag
he only had 3 targets, caught them all. He caught the 58-yard touchdown, so don't mind him. And then your boy Pops that you mentioned there for Bourne being out. So let's go to tight end.
Uncle T, do you just want to keep going? I mean, you're on.
Well, I mean, you let JT go first every segment, so we're going to let JT go first this segment too.
Damn.
I just made that managerial decision. I've never seen somebody in all the shows we've done be so happy that a guy was on mute and you guys are laughing like 5 minutes later.
I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at everything else.
I wasn't laughing at that either. There's just funny shit going on tonight, dude.
Why
I think we've had a great show.
I think you've had a great show.
You've had a great show.
Pretty much have good shows every week.
Yeah, but I'm not kidding. Like, this is a really good show by you. You've made fun of us. You have not taken any shit. You've tried to take control.
Well, I've appreciated the chat here with us on this Tuesday night. You guys haven't mentioned the chat once. I've mentioned these people that hang out with us.
Talking about,
we're not like Clay. We're not a keyboard warrior like Clay, like we mentioned earlier. These guys are good people.
Does anybody even know what me and JT are laughing about? Anyways, I wonder if any of the chat was paying attention to that.
Can we please talk and get JT's thoughts on tight end?
I'm not going to go first. Out of.
Oh no, you're going first.
No, I'm not going first.
Well, you're gonna make me go first. That's not good.
Go ahead, Holden. I know you're not prepared. What tight ends do you like this week, Holden?
What tight ends? How about we go back to Logan Thomas?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Jason. Look, I know the people got my back.
Uncle T 2024.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be Uncle T Jason on the ticket.
All right, Uncle T, it's your turn. I started naming ones, and then you weren't very nice.
Yeah, I know. Andrews is getting up there, 6,800. I think it's too high a price to pay for Andrews. No Kelsey on the slate. Hawkinson at 5,200. I do not like him for the obvious reasons of not having anyone very good to throw to him. Now, if you want to get a little bit different, maybe I say a little bit, Goddard, maybe playing a tight end, or maybe like we talked about earlier in the chat, maybe going with it. Maybe it's the Swift game. Maybe Swift gets 2 or 3 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, 4,800. Taysom Hill, Big T's guy, 4,700. Feels like that price tag's really high for Big Taysom, but don't think I'm going to go there. My favorite tight end, probably point per dollar here this week, just looking at it on the first look, our boy Ferguson from Dallas. Again, another way to maybe get a little bit different and play the tight end position, probably in a trailing game script. 4K. I like Dak looks at him quite a bit, and like him. I'm going to leave some guys for JT.
Real quick, before we get to that, I do have a serious question for you, Uncle T. Who do you think was the ultimate sex symbol of the 1970s? Which man would have been the ultimate sex symbol?
I'm not into dudes. Sorry.
Yeah, but you can talk about which ones would be the leading sex.
No, we're not going through this an hour and a half into the show. No, we'll do that next week. We already talked about the girls from the 80s. I said Jessica Simpson. You guys made fun of me.
What do you think, buddy? Patrick Swayze, maybe?
Don't say the dude that just died either.
Who just died?
Matthew Perry.
Oh,
well, that's not the 70s.
I think Patrick Swayze was definitely there.
You know what?
From the 70s? From the 70s?
Yeah, well, you know what? He did The Outsiders before he got to.
I could see Holden liking Patrick freaking Swayze. Are you kidding me?
What about Armand Asante?
Was he the little guy on Fantasy Island?
No, that's Hervé Villachez.
Armand. Are you kidding me? His name was Hervé Villachez? Did you know that?
I tell you what, me and the chat tonight have been arm in arm. Swoop, I mentioned Jessica Simpson last week.
No, Burt Reynolds is a good one. That's a really good one.
I'll go with Burt.
Burt Reynolds
Burt had a good-looking mustache, too. I agree with Jason. I like Burt. That's a good call.
All right, so back to
I probably prefer Jessica Simpson over Burt, but
Jessica Simpson, well, she was the 90s, not the 80s.
We're not talking about what era, JT. We're just talking.
She was the 90s? She's that old?
Jessica Simpson?
She was probably 90s.
Yeah. 80s is like Heather Locklear.
Like
Samantha Fox.
Farrah Fawcett. What was Farrah Fawcett, Holden? Was she back in the 70s with you?
60s.
No, Farrah Fawcett around back then. 70s, 80s.
70s.
Oh, Derek.
How about Cheryl Teagues? You guys have the Cheryl Teagues poster?
Kurt Ferguson. So let's continue.
Good talk. Neither one of you had the Cheryl Teagues poster?
I never had posters of women. I did have this.
Oh, now you're lying. There ain't no way you didn't have a poster up in your room.
I had the swimsuit edition. I didn't have posters. Like I had those Sports Illustrated sports posters. Remember the Sports Illustrated?
Yeah.
Where you had the big.
You probably got them in your second drawer right now.
Yeah, all those. It was great.
Don't let the new lady find them.
Who's okay? JT, tight end. Sorry.
Yeah.
What's so funny, Uncle T?
Swoop's having a good show.
Yeah.
Heather Thomas. That's a good point. That's a good one. So I don't mind. Here's the thing with TJ Hawkinson. I don't mind him. Just because I think there's going to be short passes around the line of scrimmage. And let's not forget that the Falcons did make Will Levis look like
Will who?
Oh my God. Will Levis from the Titans.
Thank you. He's a UK guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, looked like a Heisman Trophy winner and Rookie of the Year award winner. So I do like Hawkinson. And then, like I said, London status up in the air early in the week. Kyle Pitts, 4,100. Jonnu Smith, a little bit less than that. The rest of this is just a mess right now early in the week. Tight end will come into a little bit clearer focus later on.
Anything else there, Turd Ferguson?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
You already went to me with tight end.
Did you want to? Well, then I started talking about sex symbols and stuff.
No, you started. We didn't talk about
it. Right,
I
did.
Yeah, because you got probably Pornhub up on your screen right now, and it's getting me excited.
Nope, I got Turd Ferguson up right now.
Well, Ferguson, that Mary Ferguson, by the way, he's a good play this week for.
You know what Mary Ferguson's even from?
From I'm trying to think what the
Curb Your Enthusiasm. Mary Ferguson.
Oh yeah.
Three Mary Fergusons for Leon. Totally screwed it up every time.
There was also another reference with Mary Ferguson, but you're right. I think the reason Big T mentions is from Curb. I don't watch any of those things. He makes fun of me. I don't watch any of that shit.
Big T, a man that doesn't talk sex symbols that are male. Doesn't watch any of that shit.
He makes fun of slow white athletic players.
Does that bother you?
A little bit.
Really?
Next time you change next time you change my name on there, we're gonna have a little issue, just so you guys know.
He just found it. It took you 30 minutes to notice that? Got us.
The good thing I got broad shoulder. You guys are tough on all. The good thing I can take it.
That was good, bastards. Like I said, Uncle T having one of his best shows of the year. Maybe his best. Hey, Uncle T, you want to do tight end?
Yeah, let's talk about tight end. I like Travis Kelce this week.
It's a showdown slate, baby.
Yeah, Rich. See, I'll tell you, I don't think they're trolling, but the chat is 100% spot on this week.
Which is what?
I'm carrying the show. Put it up on the screen, host. I mean, we don't ask a whole lot out of you.
Richie Smalls.
Yeah,
Uncle
put
T
Richie up there.
Carrying the shows like that.
Yeah, I mean, usually I don't like to toot my horn, but you guys have been awful tonight. I mean, I literally did pretty much everything for the last hour and 20 minutes. So,
do you go back and watch the show or listen to it or what?
No, I just like to look at the comments, like the loser play or whatever.
Every week you say I went back and I listened to the show. Now you don't.
See, now you're lying because I've never done that.
Yeah, you go. I went back and I listened to the show.
No, you've lost your mind. Oh, Charlie's Angels. There you go.
You bastards.
There you go. Yeah. How about a little Three's Company? JT probably was a Three's Company guy.
I liked it.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah. Barbarella totally I mean, Jane Fonda, yeah. We always go down the same road.
Why does it got to get that violent of a comment? Like,
what?
We go from 0 to 60 like immediately.
But what do you mean?
What are you
What
talking about?
Why don't you go back and listen?
To what?
JT's dying to say something.
I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you got? A fastball grip there? What do you got? A little two-seamer going there while you're standing there, sitting there? Yeah, a little two-seamer.
All right.
Coming in at about 72 miles an hour.
Suzanne Summers just died. That's too bad. Yeah, Raquel Welch was the hottest Richie Smalls. Anyways, a great show tonight, Uncle T. I wish
Good luck
that
this week, people.
I wish that JT and I could have lived up to the performance that you showed tonight.
The good part is you were two of my favorite guys, even though you guys weren't very good tonight.
But you carried us, and we thank you for that. I thank you for that. I don't know about how you feel, JT. Fallacious.
Holden, do you have some parting words for Clay?
Oh yes, I do have some parting words for Clay. Let me think of them real quick. Go fuck yourself.